Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Judy Dragon, and Debbie Zietz is my co-member of our nonprofit. Um, I felt last night we hadn't connected in a while, and I was feeling it important to just be live with all of you and be real. And so I decided to hop on, and Debbie said she would help me, because I'm not really seeing your posts on Facebook as far as saying hi to me, but feel free to write it down. And this is just going to be very short, and I have some downloads for you as well. That's Creators Teachings. We are the Moving Beyond Trauma Project. We're a nonprofit. And the reason I wanted to connect is because there's so much going on in the world. And here we are, a nonprofit about healing trauma. And many of us are still sheltered in place, and it brings up a lot of issues. And so I was just feeling into it last night and kind of reading through so much that's going on in the world, what that brings up in me, what it's brought up for others. And I always keep coming back to myself and feeling like our thoughts, our fears, our grudges, our hurts get psychically attached to those who hurt us in the past as kids and are hurting us in the present by the policies that are being created. And they're also literally feeding all this energy into this unprocessed heavy energy, like a soup of outer fears being created by different structures. And so this brings up more anger and resentments and grudges and hurts, both individually and on a global level, which I call global goop. And until we learn what we see outside of ourselves as a reflection of something within us, we will keep continuing to feed into this heavy, energetic brew out there. So how can we disconnect from this? So it's true that others' actions can create an energy of limitation and harm. I'm not trying to be Pollyannish about what's going on, but where are those limitations inside of ourselves? How do we explore that? How are we harming or limiting ourselves that we're refusing to look at? Like we're pointing fingers and saying, look what they're doing, look what's happening. But where are we doing that within ourselves too? Where are we exploring that? And this kind of dissonance energy is reflective within, but we hide it unconsciously. We all do it. And so I wanted to just make mention that the energy that's often projected is fear. And fear increases our cortisol levels and our stress. So what is the shut-ins doing? And what are the masks doing? They're also increasing stress. They're also increasing cortisol levels, and they're decreasing immunity. So masks can cause what's called hypercapnia, which is an increase in carbon dioxide. Well, this leads to confusion, for some panic attacks, heart arrhythmia, paranoia, depression. I mean, it's a whole list. Isn't this the same as those of us who've been traumatized as children? We go through this too. You know, those who've done a lot of healing may have none of those symptoms, and those who are at different stages of healing may have more. So I'm wondering, how many of you have ever had your mouths washed out with soap as a kid? Or had someone ever covered your mouth when you didn't expect it? Had you had other things that happened to your mouth? Or, and I hear these kinds of stories a lot, have you ever been put in a closet or locked in your room as a kid, or told to stay still in just one place, or grounded in the house for the weekend. Where are these kind of experiences stored in your body? And what feelings do they invoke for you? Because that's how you start to discover what the outer is triggering that inside unconscious material for you to work with. When things outside our core, and I'll call that the matrix, end up attempting to control us, they often do this by keeping us in confusion. They use punishment or denial of our rights or limit access to what is going on with deception and lies. I mean, how many of us went through that as kids? And then there's thinking about how we're going to face our internal truths, those unconscious things, when it's difficult, when it makes it difficult also to see what's really going on in the world. Because if we haven't cleared out what's within us, it's hard to see the truth in all that's being projected into the world. And so again, it goes into that thick, dark gobbledygook, I call it. Many of us have stayed disempowered for so long in the way we were raised and not clearing that up. And I'm even talking about genetically, because that gets dumped on us too. It actually goes back 14 generations. What kind of capacity do we have to actually embrace these new levels of awareness that are actually coming in to help us? And with this, we'll expect others to tell us what is true and expect them to rescue us from being attacked from whatever. I mean, there's always another attack being broadcast. Will we go outside of ourselves to the authoritarian figures who often mirror a false power and tell us that experts know how to solve everything? Or will we attempt to fulfill a childhood longing that safety is outside of ourselves and everyone knows but us? Because that's a pattern we take with us from childhood, trauma, unless we take care of it. But we can't save ourselves from ourselves. It's our work. It's what we have to do to change the structures on the outer. So as soon as we wake up to this awareness within ourselves, we actually start to become empowered. And when that happens, no one can control us because we're holding on to the truth that we know is aligned within ourselves, and it helps to free ourselves from our projections and in from that gobbledygook soup that's outside of ourselves. Let me just take a breath with all that and just check in how all of you are feeling. I know I'm sharing a lot. I just had so much to say. I was just feeling into so much last night. So the next part I want to mention is if we're sourcing our awareness, not just from our inner truths, but that aligned with all that is, or unconditional love, we realize that we can be safe and protected. And this includes clearing those inner programs that tell us that we're separate from this divine source, that we're controllable and that we're uncontrollable, that we're insignificant and that we're too much, and that we don't matter, and that we have to be shut away, and that we have to be silenced and obedient to others or be punished or controlled. I mean, these are all the programs that those of us who have been abused have lived with until we decided to heal. And many of us were raised in authoritarian households. And for me, this happened not only within my immediate family, but in being trafficked. And I was controlled by so many players who felt that they could use my energy, my power, my innocence to empower themselves and to take away my free will. That was then. But that's really only creating a false hierarchical structure of misaligned power for themselves. They don't get that true aligned power, their source within, I don't have. I never had it. It's theirs to own. And so their power structures are not aligned. So their opinions as a kid became my truth until I woke up and I started clearing that. And none of us can be victimized once we're aware, once we've been empowered with true knowledge from within. Some people, you know, like I'm getting on and I'm doing Facebook Lives. So some people will speak their truth this way. Some people will awaken and take their truth into the streets. Some will do it online. Some will write it. Some will sing it. Some will draw it. Some will photograph it. Some will pray and some will visualize. All of it's needed. All of it's important. But the inside work is what's most important, because our thoughts are so powerful. And as a collective, our true aligned power and inner truth is so immense collectively. And when we can recognize and utilize it through unconditional love, we are a power that comes with a heart. And I recently read something about a revolution of consciousness. And I just thought, yes, that's what it's about. We're shifting consciousness. We've always had to fight over things in order to be seen. How about if we can just stand in our truth, come from our heart, and know that's enough? And I think a lot of us have been in fear of our own power and that divinity that's part of us. So I'm just inviting everybody to maybe think about this differently. Layla and I are going to do a webinar shortly about truth and transformation for those of you who want to heal from trauma or want to help others heal from trauma, because we're smack in the middle of a world trauma paradigm right now. And so we're inviting you to bring your healing selves, and so we can go deeper into this topic. We've been doing little pieces of Facebook Live about this, but we want to give you more. And we want to do this all through unconditional love. And then we can take this in the world and spread it. So Debbie's going to post information on this Facebook Live for the mailing list that you can sign up. You can review this video, this Facebook Live. And I just want to say also that I just really appreciate our community and the growth that I've seen over the 10 years on this Facebook page. And we all really appreciate your support of our nonprofit, and there's more to come. So I would like to give you some downloads, some creators' teachings, and Debbie's going to read them, and I'm just going to go into a theta brainwave state so I can download them. All you have to do is say yes to yourself, and you can receive these. So go ahead, Deb.
Okay. Do you want to know what it feels like and how to live with safety and protection as part of every cell of our body and in each thought through all that is? Recognize your truth and the truth in the world through the divine. Live without others needing to tell you your truths.
Okay.
Do you want to know what it feels like and how to share your truth in ways that spark these truths for others to live without waiting to be rescued by others.
Okay.
You want to know what it feels like and how to join collaboratively to visualize differently by our actions and our purpose, to be part of a revolution of consciousness that empowers everyone.
Okay. So thank you. Again, you can just say yes to these. And we just really appreciate just connecting with the community and letting you know we're here, that you're all important to us. And let's continue to stay connected. And I hope you all have a great afternoon. It's sunny here. And so I'm going to hang out in the garden. And God bless you all. Bye.
Thanks, Judy.